The unit circle. So here we have our x-axis and our y-axis, and we have a circle that has a centre of 0, 0, and it passes through the point 1, 0, 0, 1, minus 1, 0, and 0, minus 1. And it's called a unit circle because it has a radius of 1 unit. Okay, so first of all, it's important to note that this is the first quadrant, this is the second quadrant, the third quadrant, and the fourth quadrant. Okay? And if we form an angle with the positive part of the x-axis and a radius of the unit circle, the point at which the radius touches the circle is cos theta sine theta. So the x value, or the x coordinate, represents cos theta, and the y coordinate represents sine theta, or sine theta represents the y coordinate. And the angle that is formed between the positive part of the x-axis and that radius is theta. So the unit circle is given to you in the formula book, and this point is labelled as cos theta sine theta, but you need to be able to interpret that cos theta is equal to the x coordinate and sine theta is equal to the y coordinate, because this part is not actually given to you in the formula book, but you can interpret it from this. So tan of theta is going to be sine of theta divided by cos of theta. Now, this definition is given in the formula book, and it's on page 13. So tan of theta is given by sine of theta divided by cos of theta. So sine of theta is basically your y coordinate divided by cos of theta, so basically your x coordinate. Evaluating the trigonometric ratios of all angles between 0 and 360 degrees. Okay, so it's important to note that a full circle is made up of 360 degrees. Reference angles. Okay, so consider the angle AOB, where the angle AOB is equal to 140 degrees. So here's point A, O is the centre of our circle, and this is point B, also on our circle. So the angle AOB is 140 degrees, and it's written in green. So it's the angle that's formed from the positive part of the x-axis around to this radius here. So it's the green part, and it is 140 degrees. The angle AOB will lie in the second quadrant of the unit circle. So remember, this is the first quadrant, this is the second quadrant, this is the third quadrant, this is the fourth quadrant. So the angle AOB is 140 degrees, that's in green there. Therefore, the reference angle is going to be 180 degrees minus 140, which leaves us with 40 degrees. So the reference angle is the orange part, 40 degrees. So it's the leftover angle from the straight line, basically. So if you imagine that the x-axis is a straight line, which it is, if this angle is 140 degrees, then the leftover angle is 40 degrees. This is known as the reference angle. The acute angle formed by the terminal side of AOB, angle AOB, i.e. where the angle ends, that's what it means by terminal side, where the angle ends, where it terminates, and the x-axis is called the reference angle of angle AOB. In this case, the reference angle measures 40 degrees. Here are similar examples for angles that lie in the third and fourth quadrants respectively. So remember, this is the first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, fourth quadrant. So the angle AOB equals 250 degrees. So this is point A, this is point O, and this is point B. So we have our positive part of our x-axis, forms one arm of the angle, and then this radius that's in the third quadrant forms the second arm of our angle. And we have a reflex angle, so we are going from the positive part of the x-axis all the way around to the radius. So this angle, this green angle, is 250 degrees. So the reference angle is 250 degrees. Take away 180 degrees leaves us with 70 degrees. So 250 degrees, take away 180 degrees, leaves us with 70 degrees. So this is the reference angle. So if the angle is less than 180 degrees, then to find the reference angle, we take that angle away from 180 degrees. And if the angle is greater than 180 degrees, then to find the reference angle, we take 180 degrees away from that angle. Now this is only if the angle is less than 270 degrees. So basically, if it lies in, or if the terminating part of the angle lies in the third quadrant. So if the angle that we're looking at lies in the second quadrant, so basically the angle formed would be less than 180 degrees, we would take that angle away from 180 degrees to find the reference angle. If the angle lies in the third quadrant, so basically if it's greater than 180 degrees, but less than 270 degrees, then we take 180 degrees away from that angle. And if the angle lies in the fourth quadrant, which is the example we're going to see in a minute, which means it's greater than 270 degrees, then we take that angle away from 360 degrees to find the reference angle. Okay, so here we have the angle AOB is equal to 330 degrees. So we start at A, point A, which is on our x-axis. We go to O, which is in the centre, and we go out to B, which is our radius. So it's this angle here. So we're going the whole way around. So the terminating part of this angle lies in the fourth quadrant, and the angle is greater than 270 degrees. So to find the reference angle, we take that angle away from 360 degrees, because there's 360 degrees in a full circle. So 360 degrees, take away 330 degrees, is 30 degrees. So 30 degrees is the leftover part of our angle to make up the full circle, and this is known as our reference angle.